Idaraos sa New York City sa Amerika ngayong Lunes ang United Nations Climate Change Summit. Ang tema ng pagtitipon, Climate Action Summit 2019, A Race We Can Win, A Race We Must Win. Layunin ng summit na paigtingin ang mga hakbang ng iba't ibang bansa para labanan ang climate change. At kasama natin ngayon dito sa studio ang isa sa mga dadalo sa Climate Change Summit bilang kinatawan ng Pilipinas, si Commissioner Rachel Herrera ng Climate Change Commission o CCC. Magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga, Menchu. Magandang umaga po sa lahat ng nanonood ngayon.
Okay, first of all, thank you for being here. And can you define kung ano ba talaga yung climate change in the simplest possible terms?
Okay. When we speak of climate change, it has been described by economists and scientists alike as the biggest humanitarian challenge of our generation. Napaka-urgent po ng mga haharapin natin na dulot ng climate change. So the science behind it is that due to the industrialization of countries all over the world, ay nagbuga tayo ng maraming carbon sa atmosphere, itong greenhouse gases. At ang concentration ng greenhouse gases ngayon sa atmosphere is causing the changing climate and the warming of the planet.
So ibig sabihin, umiinit yung mundo, nag-iiba yung, ano yung mga epekto that we can physically see ng climate change?
Marami tayong nakikitang epekto sa Pilipinas lang, extreme weather events. Kung dati, klaro ang tagtuyot at tag-ulan, hindi na natin ngayon masabi kung anong buwan tayo dadaanan ng bagyo. We have stronger, more intense typhoons. We have drought in Central Mindanao, kaya nahihirapan ating mga magsasakang magtanim at mag-ani ng mga produkto nila.
So yung, like for example, yung Undoy, which hit the country, what, 10 years ago?
2009.
2009. So we're going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of that. That is an example of what climate change can do.
Certainly, because Undoy was a wake-up call for the entire Metro Manila. In the span of one day, a 1 month worth of rainfall was experienced by the entire Metro Manila at hindi pa tayo nakakita bago noon ng ganong katinding bagyo at naanod ang maraming kabahayan lalo na sa mga low-lying areas. So it was a visual, a strong visual for the entire country to see what the impacts of very strong rainfall would be, and it was unexpected. It was probably a once in a century kind of typhoon of rainfall. At marami pong mga negosyo, mga kabahayan, ang nasira, maraming namatay. Alam natin yun.
Pero yun ang mga sinasabi, once in a century, pero parang mas nagiging madalas na siya. Madalas na nating naririnig, once in a blue moon, once in a century type winds and rains, pero mas madalas nang nangyayari ngayon. Let's talk about the policy of the Duterte administration pagdating sa climate change. Ano po ba yung polisiya ng Duterte administration pagdating dito?
Ang ating pong priority is adaptation. This is a strategy that we put in our commitment submitted sa UN under the Paris Agreement. Adaptation meaning makikibagay tayo, mag-aakma tayo ng mga sistema natin sa pamumuhay, sa negosyo, na tanggapin nating may impacts na, and we are one of the most vulnerable among many rankings across the world. Napakalaki na ng losses natin sa typhoons, extreme weather events, disasters na tawagin. Dahil sa location natin sa malapit sa Pasipiko, dinadaanan talaga tayo ng matitinding bagyo, at dahil marami tayong coastal areas or coastal municipalities and cities, around majority of our 100 million plus population live near bodies of water or the seas. Kaya dyan ang pagbaha, nandyan yung bagyo, nandyan ang tinatawag yung sea level rise. Isa naman to sa impact ng climate change na nararamdaman na sa mga isla ngayon, na lumalapit ang tubig. Kung dati ay ilang daang metro pa ang mga bahay o mga beach resort, mula sa dagat, ngayon ay papalapit at papalapit. Kaya delikado rin ang mga komunidad natin na nakatira along the coast.
Really, tulad nga ng sinabi mo, parang napakalaki ng impact sa developing country like ours. Pero kung titingnan mo, napakalaki ng greenhouse gas emissions ng mayayamang bansa. Pero yung impact sa atin mas mararamdaman, ano? So how do we deal with this problem?
Ang statement natin dyan consistently in the international community is climate justice. Bakit tayo na maliit lang ang emissions, 1/3 of 1% sa kabuuan sa mundo, ay kailangang magtiis, no? At tayo ang nagsasuffer sa mga epekto ng climate change. At yung mga maliliit na bansa generally, well, we are calling developed countries at yan yung purpose ng UN Climate Action Summit na gaganapin next week sa New York. Hindi nga pala kami makakasama ang aming opisina, pero may mga delegates talaga tayo from other agencies at ang Department of Foreign Affairs should be there or will be there. Ang tawag natin sa mga developed countries ay sila ang mas magbawas sa kanilang emissions because historically they caused the warming of the planet. And in fact, the top 15 countries, including the US, many of the countries in Europe, sila ay nagbubuga ng 70+% of the global total. Meanwhile, tayo, hindi naman natin sasabihin wala tayong gagawin. In fact, we are doing our fair share because we should not contribute to the cost of that which affects us. So may konti tayong gagawin, nagta-transition tayo paunti-unti sa renewable energy. Bumababa na rin ang costing nito ngayon, but a lot more needs to be done.
So it seems like it's very important din na yung mga developing countries ay magsama-sama at magkaisa, ano? How difficult is that to do? To get everyone together?
Well, it's a political exercise at the UN level, sa mga napapanood natin, nababasa natin. Talagang consensus kasi ang kailangan dyan. At nagkakaisa naman, meron tayong binuo kasama with 43 other vulnerable countries, developing small island countries, tinatawag na Climate Vulnerable Forum. Sinabi natin doon na bigyan nyo kami ng kapasidad dahil kami ay lumalaki pa lang, kami ay growing. Kailangan namin pakainin ng mga tao. How can we build our homes, our factories? How can we produce enough food if you do not give us capacity to shift from the traditional coal or fossil fuel-based energy source towards renewables. So kailangan natin ng tulong nila at yun ang din ang isa nating call, no, sa international community.
Pero tila may mga world leader pa rin na hindi ganun ka-agresibo, no, sa when it comes to yung mga hakbang nila kontra climate change. Like tulad na lang halimbawa ni US President Donald Trump, di ba? I think it was last week or just a few days ago, tinanggalan niya ng kapangyarihan ng California to na magtakda ng auto emission standards nila. So, ano ba yung magiging epekto nito on a global scale, on the policy on a broader scale?
It sends a very bad signal to the international community because here you have California. In fact, state lang siya sa US, but it's the world's 5th largest economy kung ihiwalayin siya. So California is a leader, in fact, among the countries or the units, political units of the world kasi nag-declare siya under state law na gusto niyang maging carbon neutral, meaning zero siya by 2050. At aggressive siya sa mga policies on emissions regulations, on incentivizing rooftops na solar. At ang pagdesisyon ng federal government ng Amerika na pigilan yon o pagbawalan sila, I think that's a very bad move. It will impact heavily on US emissions sa targets niya. At sana nga ay hindi na talaga sila umalis sa Paris Agreement kasi it will weaken the world's resolve. Ang tinatarget kasi ng mundo ngayon is net zero carbon emissions by mid-century at sang-ayon yan sa scientific recommendations para umabot tayo sa tinatawag nating goal na 1.5 degrees Celsius at hindi palalagpas doon.
Well, hopefully, itong upcoming United Nations Climate Change Summit, you will be able to get that message across and hit the targets, of course, that we have set for ourselves. Maraming salamat, Commissioner Rachel Herrera ng Climate Change Commission o CCC.